Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to be starting a new series called Getting Started with iOS Development, and what I'm going to be doing in this series is just explaining how to get started with iOS development. So the first thing you want to do is install Xcode. Xcode is just an app which it's created by Apple, and it's basically the only way you can create iOS apps. There's also other ways like Flutter and React, but they're not native, so I would highly recommend going with just Xcode. It's way easier than trying to set everything else up. So it's quite a big app. It's more than what it says here, because there's always new updates, and I think you're going to need at least maybe 40 gigabytes of free space. So yeah, it's actually really big. So yeah, it's important to download Xcode. And another thing you want is, let's say you're having trouble downloading Xcode from the App Store. Well, then you can go to developer.apple.com, and I'll just link this in the description. But all you do is go here, and you can download all of the Xcode previous versions and newest versions here. So you have Xcode 2.3, Xcode 2.2, 12.2, 12.3, and yeah, it's just really useful here. I don't know if you need a developer account, but I don't think you will. So yeah, you can just go here and download whatever you want. So yeah, that's the first step in getting started with iOS development, and I'll see you guys in a future video. Bye. Hey guys, so I'm going to be continuing on from the Getting Started with iOS Development series, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to use auto layout. So I made a video on auto layout before, but that one was quite brief and I didn't really go into detail about how useful it is. So auto layout is like really useful because you don't actually have to create a new screen every time a new device comes out. So if a new iPhone comes out, you don't need to quickly go and make a new screen, because you know your auto layout will already handle it. So in the previous video I made about it, it was really brief and I didn't explain a lot about it. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you what each one of these these constraints will do. So I'll just add a label in, and so the first thing you want to know is, if you want to center something in the middle of the screen, you have to horizontally center it and vertically contain it. These are just alignment constraints, so they aren't based off anything else, they're based off the actual screen. And a rule of thumb I like to have is, if you're constraining using these constraints, then you should typically use at least 3, and then you can have more. But I wouldn't use too many, or else it'll start giving you errors. So I can add in a new item. I'll just add a switch in because it's easy. So to add this switch, what I'm going to do is, I can set the top constraint to be, let's say we want it 20 off this label. So now we know on any screen this label will be in the center and this switch will be 20 below it. And then I can center these two to be how many other sides away from each other. But that's what I need to add now, and you can see, since I only added 1, it gives me an error. It doesn't know where our X position is. So to fix that, what we can do is just center this in vertically. And wrong one. Sorry, I always get confused. I think it's if we center it, so horizontally is down the middle, vertical is the side. It's quite confusing, but you just need a lot of practice. So now we know this switch will always be in the middle of the screen, and it will always be 20 below this label, and this label will always be in the absolute middle. And now let's say we can add an image view in, and this image view will have to be 87 on each side and 19 from safe area in the view. So the safe area is a big rectangle, and it's basically just here and above this curve. So it doesn't include this curve, this bit at the bottom, and it doesn't include this bit next to the notch, both of these bits. So if I set it to the safe area, which is on by default, 20 to the safe area, and then I would do 87 on each side. Just leave it like that. Now again, it doesn't know our X position, so doesn't know our height, and since it doesn't know our height, we can bring us to these constraints. So these constraints are just the width and height, and since we've already specified the width, since it's 87 on each side, we can't add a constraint for that. We can add a height constraint, and that should fix everything. So that's about it for all of the constraints, and you can just modify them by always changing this. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in a future tutorial. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and I'm going to be continuing on from the getting started with iOS development tutorials. So in this part 3, I'm going to be showing you how to use IB outlets and IB actions. So this is only really relevant if you use storyboard, but when you're a beginner, then it's pretty useful just to use storyboard to just make it a lot easier on yourself. So IB actions and IB outlets are like really basic, and they're really important because they're what helps you connect the elements which you put on this screen to the code. So if I drag in a label here, and I can add a IB outlet, and that's all I can do with a label. I'm not going to be covering outlet collections today, but they are also important. But for the label, all I can do is add an outlet. So I'll just name this text label, and that's all I can do. So now that we've connected this outlet, what we do is we can just use this text label. So text label dot, and then we can just change all the labels properties. So text equals to hello aria. Okay, and that's all we can do. Now if I drag a button into here, you'll see that we can change the we can add an outlet and an action. So if I just drag this button in, so we can add an outlet here, and this outlet can be the same. So button.setTitle, we can have this for hello aria sk again, and for.normal. And we can also have an IB action. So this is telling us what to do when one of these events is used. So there's a lot of events, but I recommend just staying up with TouchUp Insight because that's the one which feels most useful. And we can just name this button clicked. So yeah, and use IB outlets to basically connect every element on your screen. And actions are mainly only for buttons and other interactable objects. So we have the interactable objects are segmented control, text field, kind of, not really though, slider, switch, and then these there's more of these. So yeah, but you'll always need to use a IB outlet because that's what just allows you to connect one element to a screen to another one. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and that was how we use IB outlets and IB actions. Bye, see you in the future. Okay, hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is part 4 of iOS development basics and how to get started with iOS development. So in this tutorial I'm going to be explaining why you need the Swift fundamentals, and I'm also going to explain why you should use Swift over like Objective-C. So you see, you can use Swift or Objective-C, but I would always use Swift because it's like it's brand new. I mean, not brand new, but like it's quite new, and it's just a lot cleaner and easier to understand. It's also, if you're a beginner, it's much easier to understand than Objective-C, which has a lot of complicated syntax. So Swift is really simple, and before we get started, I want to reference my own Swift basics tutorial, or Swift programming logic tutorials, and I made a big series about this. But basically, I just go over all the different fundamentals of programming, and you can actually use these for any type of programming language. It's not just Swift, but I do it specifically for Swift. So yeah, if I put that away now. So Swift is just like any other language. We have functions. So functions are declared with func, and I just create a function add 10. You can pass arguments with, actually I think they might be called parameters, I don't know. Add 10 and then number, and you just declare what number this is, and then you just return turn number plus 10. So that's how you use any functions. You can add parameters, and you can also return things. And you also have if-else statements. So if-else statements are so easy. So let me create a new variable. You can also have variables and lets, which are, let is a constant and variable can be changed. Okay, and you also have if statements. So if x is greater than 10, print x is greater than 10. And then you have else. You also have else if. So else if we can have else if x is greater than 5. Print x is greater than 5 but smaller than or equal to 10. And then we just have else print x is smaller than or equal to 5. So yeah, these are all if-else statements, and you also have print statements, which just print things into the console. I mean, if I run this right now, we should see that we get a print statement, and we're gonna get the x is smaller than or equal to 5. So yeah, I just made this video to explain the Swift basics and link to my Swift programming tutorials series, because it's really useful. So yeah, x is smaller than or equal to 5. So they're the basics: if statements, functions, variables, and we also have other things like loops and different data types, but I'm not going to get into that for now. So yeah, and remember to look at my Swift programming logic series, and this is how you use programming logics in Swift. Sorry, I just got a bit confused. Anyway, see you in a future tutorial. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is the last part of my getting started with iOS development series. So in this series, I didn't actually cover how to make a app or how to make a basic app or like tutorial project. I just covered the basics of what you should learn and how you should learn it. So for this final project, what I'm going to be showing you is where you can get more help, because even if you're a really experienced programmer, you're not going to know everything. So I want to give a shout out to Code with Chris, because this was the guy who helped me get into building apps, and he helped me get into actually making an app. If I just skip past this. Okay, so this is how he has a big in-depth tutorial, and these are all of his videos. So he just goes through making an app, and I went through all of these lessons, and by the end of it I had a big understanding of Swift and how it works. So you can always use YouTube, and if you're ever stuck and you need to understand a concept, you can always just type in what you want in YouTube, and it should just come up with a helpful tutorial. And another way you can get help is you can read Swift coding books. So if I just search up Swift coding books, and you'll see there are a lot of books, and I haven't actually read any of these, but I'm sure if you read these you also get a big and good understanding of Swift and how it works. And the final way that I like to use, which is actually really useful, is I use Stack Overflow. So if I ever have a problem, so let's say I don't know how to use an image view, I'll just search up how to use an image view in Swift. And I think my Google recommendations are also like really a lot more tuned, since I search this kind of stuff up a lot. But this is the kind of stuff which come up. So you have developer.apple, then you have hacking.swift, which is another good website, and then you have Stack Overflow. And what I like to find is just the one with the green tick, and then this should work. So this is for Swift free, so this may not work anymore, but if I go to this one and go to a green tick, and this one definitely works. So yeah, this is the working answer. And I just like to use Stack Overflow for anything really. If I'm stuck on anything, then I'll just use Stack Overflow. So yeah, that was how to get extra help for Swift, and thanks for watching my video, and see you in a later tutorial. Bye.